back with Jesse Weber, Law and Crime Network, criminal defense attorney Jonna Spilbor, and Imran Ansari. So, Jesse, you've been following this case very closely. How has it been going so far, do you think, for the prosecution and for the defense?
I got to tell you, this is quite a case, okay? So I agree with you. You know, the idea of they're going to show evidence. The only way he could have been killed is by the car. Statements, I hit him, this is my fault, really bad. You say a cover-up, my gosh, that seems so outlandish. Then you hear the defense. They say Brian Albert, whose house this was, trained EMT, never came outside to check on O'Keefe. When ambulances are there, never went outside. The lead investigator in this case, who essentially is the Mark Furman of this case, never investigated, took her cell phone, texted his friends, I'm looking for nudes of her, was allegedly falsified a search warrant. I said to myself at the beginning of the case, yeah, I'm not really this idea of a whole cover-up. The more I listen to it, the more I say, I understand why people are outside that courthouse saying, free Karen Reed.
Falsified a search warrant in what context, though?
That the idea of the SUV, about when he searched and what he was searching for, and that SUV is the key component of the case. So if they're saying he falsified details in the search warrant about how to get access to that, that's problematic. And the idea that he wasn't supposed to have access to her cell phone and just started looking through her personnel files, and there's an investigation into that officer, and there's a federal probe.
Okay, I think it makes for great true crime TV, this case, right?
Yes, it does.
I think you had the podcast and all that. But when you take back and you look at the evidence and the statements from Karen Reed herself at that scene, I think that's going to clinch the prosecution's case if they could get away from all this distraction and noise.
Because she said, I hit him, I hit him.
And she happens to have a broken taillight. Yes, there's a lot of other, yeah, I know, well, could it have happened elsewhere, blah, blah. You know, where was it found? But, you know, it's pretty, unfortunately, coincidental for her. Right?
Well, the allegation is
that someone went and broke it?
That they planted the taillight evidence, and...
But again, what does it mean planted? So they go and break?
How long that the law enforcement had access to her SUV is under question. Was it this amount of time or this amount of time? Would have been enough.
How many people would have to have been involved in the cover-up?
That's the point.
I mean, that's the problem. That's why I'm never a believer in the grand cover-ups. I mean, I remember in the O.J. Simpson case, we used to talk about the fact that for all the cover-ups to be the case, you would need, like, 12 different people to have been involved. The crime lab and this person and the police officers at the scene, et cetera. I mean, here you'd still need a lot of people to be involved.
But they're cops. A lot of them are cops. Who better to know how to cover up a crime than the people who investigate them and arrest the perpetrators? I think that but
it's always the cops that they accuse.
But also, listen, if somebody walked out of my house after a party, dropped dead on my front lawn, I think I'm going to notice. Like, nobody noticed this party.
He never came out of the house.
But see, at the end of the day, I think jurors don't like overly complicated cases. If they find that the prosecution laid out the evidence in a clean way, when the defense comes on with this big, grandiose conspiracy theory, the jury may reject that because there are too many question marks for the defense's
Well, and that's the problem. The advantage that they have is reasonable doubt, right? It's like, again, if you're just asking, you know, do you think she did it? Is there more evidence than not? You know, that would probably be easier than proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
I have to tell you, I mean, it sounds like I'm free Karen Reed. I'm just putting the point in. Every one of these pieces of evidence for the prosecution, the defense has a good explanation. I hit him. Yeah. How come none of those first responders told the hospital staff? How come they didn't put it in the reports? If it was such a big deal, somebody saying, I hit him. Oh, we know what happened to him. He was hit by a car. The fact that they didn't put that in, and there's been changing stories, and you're seeing this in this community. Some of the first responders have connections to these people. It just doesn't feel right. And I would have questions.
Look, I think from a juror perspective, what you're saying is very important, right? Because you came into this, as you said, thinking this is going to be kind of a slam dunk.
Right.
And now you're not thinking that way, which I think tells us a lot, maybe, about which way the jurors could go in this as well.
And jurors should kind of wait to make a decision.
No, they do. Look, this is why I appreciate it, because you've actually...
I'm the model juror right now.
No, you've been following every moment of this case.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.